It was a very quiet Friday evening, and if you looked at our house from the outside, everything probably looked like it always did. The sun was slowly going down, painting the sky with soft colors of orange and pink. The neighborhood was calm, with only the sound of a few birds chirping before they went to sleep. But inside the walls of our home, things felt very different. My wife, Jenna, was standing in front of the large mirror in our bedroom. I stood in the hallway and watched her for a while without saying a word. She was being very careful as she put her favorite bright red lipstick on her lips. She moved with a kind of focus that I had not seen in a long time. She was wearing a dress that I had never seen her wear before. It was a very fancy dress, the kind of outfit someone chooses when they want to be noticed by everyone in the room. It was definitely not the kind of dress you would wear for a casual night out with old friends at a coffee shop or a quiet park. I stayed there in the doorway, just taking in the sight of her. When she finally saw me in the reflection of the glass, she gave me a very small smile. But it was not the warm, loving smile that used to make me feel safe. It felt cold and stiff, almost like a mask she was putting on to hide what she was really thinking. She reached out and grabbed her small purse on the bed and looked at me. She told me, "Don't wait up for me tonight." She said it in a way that didn't leave room for questions. She told me it was just a night out with her girlfriends. Her voice sounded like she was trying very hard to act normal, but I could see the truth in her eyes. She looked too perfect, like she had spent hours practicing how to look and exactly what to say to me. I let out a little laugh, though I didn't feel like laughing at all, and I asked, "A girl's night, is that right?" She just rolled her eyes at me and told me not to start acting up or making things difficult. She told me she just needed to have some fun and that I should learn how to relax and enjoy my own time. Then she turned around and walked out the door. The sweet smell of her perfume stayed in the hallway for a long time after she was gone. It felt like a ghost was still standing there, and it left me with a very empty, heavy feeling in my stomach. I knew deep down in my heart that this night was not about her friends at all. After the sound of her car faded away down the street, the house became very lonely. I sat down on our soft couch and turned on television, but I immediately pressed the mute button. I did not want to hear any talking or music. I just wanted to sit there in the silence and think. I looked at the last text message she had sent me earlier in the day. It said, "Don't wait for me." I had read those 4 words so many times lately. Every time she said them, they were followed by a story that did not quite make sense or a guilty look on her face the next morning when she finally came home. For about 4 months now, I had this growing feeling that something was very wrong in our marriage. There were phone calls from her work that happened very late at night, long after her office should have been closed. There were times she came home smelling like a perfume that she did not even own. I even heard her giggling quietly while she sent secret text messages on her phone, turning the screen away so I could not see who she was talking to. I had stayed very quiet through all of this. I pretended that I did not see the changes or hear the whispers. I was waiting and hoping to see if she would finally stop telling these stories and just tell me the truth. I picked up my phone and opened a special app that shows where her phone is. She thought I could not see her location anymore because she tried to change the settings, but I still had the login information from a long time ago. I looked at the screen, and her little dot on the map showed that she was at a bar downtown called Blue Velvet. I remembered that she used to make fun of that bar whenever we drove past it. She used to say it was a cheap and messy place that she would never want to visit. I smiled to myself, but it was not a happy or kind smile. If that is where she wanted to be, then that was fine. But I was not going to sit around and wait for her to come home and lie to me this time. About an hour later, my phone buzzed again on the table. It was another text from Jenna. She said she might stay the night at her friend Ella's house because it was getting late. She told me again, very clearly, not to wait up for her. There was no heart emoji at the end of the message like there used to be. There was no, "I love you," or even a "see you later." It was just a cold message from a person who felt like they were 1,000 miles away. My hand felt very tight around my phone as I read it. That was the last straw for me. I had been a very loyal husband for many years. I had been patient, and I had forgiven her for many small mistakes in the past. But seeing her be so careless with my feelings made me feel a different way now. My silence was turning into a quiet calm strength. I decided to send her one text message back. It was very simple, but I knew it would be very powerful. I typed out the words, "Tell your friend I said hi. He left his wallet in your car last week." I hit the send button and put my phone face down on the table. My heart did not beat fast, and I did not feel like yelling or breaking anything. I felt very calm, like the kind of peace you feel when a big storm is coming, but you've already found a safe, dry place to hide. She had no idea that I had found a man's brown leather wallet under the passenger seat of her car last weekend while I was looking for my sunglasses. It belonged to a man named Rhiannon. He was a person she worked with at her office. 10 minutes after I sent that message, my phone started to go absolutely crazy. It rang over and over again, lighting up the darkroom. She called 15 times, then 20, then 30 times in a row. But I did not pick up the phone. This was the same woman who had laughed and told me not to wait for her just an hour ago. Now, she was the one who was desperate to talk to me. I poured myself a small glass of whiskey and sat in a comfortable chair right by the front door. Another message popped up on my screen. It said, "I am coming home right now. Please just wait for me." I took a small sip of my drink and smiled. Now she wanted me to wait. It was funny how things changed so quickly when the truth finally came out. By the time I saw her car pull into our driveway and the headlights shine through the window, I felt like a completely different person. The man who used to get very upset when she cried was gone. I had learned how to see through her tears. When she finally ran to the front door, she looked like a total mess. Her hair was not perfect anymore. Her fancy dress was wrinkled from the car ride, and her eyes were wide with fear. She looked like she had seen something terrifying. She was gasping for air and said, "Mark, please, it is not what you think it is." I did not say anything at first. I just watched her. She threw her purse on the couch and came closer to me, reaching out her hands. She told me that Rhiannon was at the bar, but she said it was not a plan they had made. She said he just happened to show up, and she did not even talk to him for more than a minute. I took another sip of my drink and spoke in a very calm, quiet voice. I told her it was very interesting that he had time to leave his wallet in her car, even though they supposedly did not talk. Her face went very white, and she could not find any more words or stories to say. She asked me if I had gone through her car to find things. I looked at her and said that I did not go through her car looking for trouble. I just found the lies she had left behind for me to see. She started to cry very hard then. All the confidence and the perfect look she had earlier in the evening were completely gone. She told me it was not a real affair and that nothing had happened. She said she just needed someone to pay attention to her because she felt lonely. She told me that I had been too busy with my own life and that her job was very stressful. I stopped her right there. I asked her if her only answer to being stressed was to go out and find another man to spend time with. She sat down on the couch and looked completely broken, like all the energy had left her body. She whispered that she did not sleep with him. I let out a long sigh because I was not even angry anymore. I was just very, very disappointed. I told her that the act of being with someone else is not the only thing that ruins a marriage. It is the choice to tell lies and the choice to hurt the person you are supposed to love more than anyone else. She looked up at me with red, watery eyes and asked what I was going to do next. I finished my drink and told her I was going to do exactly what she told me to do earlier that night. I told her I was not going to wait for her anymore. I went into our bedroom and started putting my shirts and pants into a large suitcase. She followed me and was panicking, her voice shaking. She grabbed my arm and told me I was overreacting and being too dramatic. She said she could fix everything and we could go back to the way things were. I turned around very slowly and looked into her eyes. I told her she had many, many chances to fix things every single time she lied to my face, but now it was simply too late. She held onto my arm and sobbed, begging me not to leave the house. She promised she would change and be a better wife. I looked at her and told her that she already had changed, but she did not change for me. Her hands finally let go of my arm, and she just stood there as the tears fell down her face. That night, I went to stay at a hotel nearby. I did not tell her where I was going. When I woke up the next morning, I saw that I had 47 missed calls and 19 messages on my phone. There was also a long voice message of her crying and saying how sorry she was for everything. I did not even listen to the whole thing. You cannot fix things with sorry words once the respect in a relationship is gone. She even sent a photo of us from our wedding day, asking me not to give up on the life we had built. I felt a little bit sorry for her when I saw that, but I knew that feeling pity for someone is not the same thing as loving them. Once you lose respect for a person, the relationship is already over, even if you are still living in the same house. 2 weeks later, I went to talk to a lawyer to start the paperwork to not be married anymore. She still tried to beg me to come back. She even came in my office and held my hands, whispering that I was her everything and she couldn't live without me. I gently pulled my hands away and told her that if I really were her everything, she never would have felt the need to find someone else to talk to or hide things from. That was the last time I ever saw her in person. A month later, I heard from a friend we both know that she tried to use the same girl's night excuse with another man she was seeing, and she got caught again. I did not feel happy to hear that, and I did not laugh at her. I just felt very thankful that I found out the truth when I did. I did not have to waste another year of my life pretending that everything was okay when it wasn't. Now, when people ask me why I'm single, I just give them a kind and honest smile. I tell them that the last person who told me not to wait up taught me a very important lesson about how vital it is to walk away when you're not being treated with the respect you deserve. That Friday night changed my whole life. It was not because I lost a wife, but because I found the person I am really supposed to be. Somewhere out there, I know she still looks at her phone sometimes, waiting for a message from me to say I forgive her. But that message will never come, because I finally stopped waiting for her, and I am finally moving forward with my own life at